When a person finds themselves at the lowest point of their life, one of the most overwhelming thoughts that takes hold of the mind is the feeling that everything has gone out of control. The problem feels sudden, chaotic, almost random, as if life has turned against you without warning. But the Quran forces us to rethink this entire perception. Long before this hardship reached your heart, it was already fully known to Allah. Not in a vague sense, not as a distant awareness, but in precise, complete detail. Allah knew the moment it would arrive, the form it would take, and the weight it would place on your soul. Nothing about your struggle is accidental. This realization is not meant to make a person passive or fatalistic. Rather, it is meant to stabilize the heart. Psychologically, much of human anxiety comes from uncertainty, the fear that things are spinning beyond control. Islam grounds the believer by reminding them that while events may be out of our control, they are never out of Allah's control. Allah describes himself as Al-Alim, the one whose knowledge is complete and uninterrupted. Your pain did not surprise him. Your confusion did not catch him off guard, and your weakness does not reduce his concern for you. When this understanding settles into the heart, it changes how a believer carries their burden. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the question becomes, "What is Allah teaching me through this?" That shift is subtle, but it is transformative. It moves a person away from panic and into purpose. Even the prophets experienced moments where the situation appeared hopeless, yet Allah's knowledge encompassed not only their trial, but also the relief that was already on its way. The lesson is not that hardship disappears quickly, but that it is never meaningless. There is also a deeply philosophical dimension here. If Allah knows your struggle in its entirety, then your suffering is not invisible. You are not crying into the void. Every tear, every sleepless night, every silent moment of endurance is already accounted for. This is why the Quran repeatedly reminds us that Allah is closer to us than we realize. Closeness is not merely physical or emotional, it is existential. Your existence in every state is held within divine knowledge. This awareness also humbles the ego. We often believe that if we had more control, more intelligence, more power, we could solve everything. But Allah reminds us that human limitation is not a flaw. It is part of the design. Your inability to see the full picture is precisely why trust in Allah is necessary. Faith begins where human certainty ends. So when you feel overwhelmed, pause and remind yourself, this problem did not enter my life unnoticed. It was seen, measured, and allowed with wisdom, and if Allah knew it was coming, then He also knows the way out. Hold on to that certainty, because the heart that truly understands this truth does not collapse under pressure. It learns how to stand. One of the most painful dimensions of hardship is not the hardship itself, but the emotional conclusion we often draw from it. When the problem stretches on, when doors remain closed and prayers seem unanswered, the heart quietly whispers a dangerous thought: perhaps Allah has abandoned me. This assumption is not new, and it is not unique to weak faith. It is a deeply human reaction to prolonged difficulty. Yet the Quran and the lived experience of the prophets directly challenge this conclusion. Feeling stuck is not proof of divine distance. In fact, many of Allah's most beloved servants experienced long seasons where progress seemed impossible. Yusuf Arabic, Tain Arabic, Lam Arabic, Yet Arabic, Ha Arabic, Halif Arabic, Lam Arabic, Sin Arabic, Lam Arabic, Halif Arabic. Meme sat in a prison cell for years, not because Allah forgot him, but because that confinement was part of a much larger plan that Yusuf himself could not yet see. Yaqub Arabic, Tain Arabic, Lam Arabic, Yet Arabic, Ha Arabic, Halif Arabic, Lam Arabic, Sin Arabic, Lam Arabic, Halif Arabic. Meme lost his son and wept until his eyesight faded, yet he never described Allah as absent, only as the one to whom he complained of his sorrow. Even the Prophet letter FDFA experienced moments where revelation paused, and enemies mocked him, claiming his Lord had left him. The divine response was immediate and decisive. Allah had not abandoned him, nor did he despise him. Psychologically, the mind struggles with silence. We are conditioned to interpret response as care and delay as rejection. But Allah does not operate according to human emotional patterns. Silence from Allah is not emptiness, it is intentional. It creates space for growth that comfort never produces. In moments where nothing seems to change externally, something profound is often happening internally. Patience deepens, reliance sharpens, and the heart is slowly being detached from false sources of security. There is also a critical philosophical lesson here about entitlement. Modern thinking often assumes that ease is the default and hardship is the exception. Islam reverses this assumption. Life itself is a test and struggle is part of its very fabric. When a believer internalizes this, hardship no longer feels like rejection. It feels like participation in a meaningful process. Allah's delay is not neglect, it is calibration. He is aligning circumstances, timing, and your inner readiness in ways you cannot measure. This is why despair is so dangerous. It is not merely sadness, it is a misreading of reality. To believe Allah has abandoned you is to underestimate His wisdom and misunderstand His mercy. Allah may remove solutions so that you stop leaning on them. He may close every door so that you finally turn fully toward Him. And when that turn is sincere, it becomes the beginning of relief, even if the problem itself has not yet disappeared. So, when you feel stuck, do not rush to interpret the moment as abandonment. Instead, ask what this pause is teaching you about yourself, your attachments, and your relationship with Allah. Because the believer who understands this truth does not walk away in frustration, they remain present, patient, and hopeful, knowing that Allah's silence is never empty and His absence is never real. As human beings, when we think about solutions, we almost always imagine them unfolding in straight lines. We expect relief to come through the routes we understand, the plans we have carefully constructed, or the people we have already identified as helpful. When those avenues collapse, the sense of despair deepens, not only because the problem remains, but because we believe there is nowhere left to turn. Yet one of the most consistent patterns in the Quran is that Allah's help rarely arrives from the direction we anticipate. This is why the concept of reliance on Allah is so central to faith. Tawakkul is not passive waiting, nor is it reckless optimism. It is the recognition that human perception is limited, while divine wisdom is not. Allah opens paths that were invisible to us precisely because they lie beyond the scope of our planning. Musa Arabic, Tain Arabic, Clam Arabic, Yet Arabic, Ha Arabic, Khalif Arabic, Clam Arabic, Seen Arabic, Clam Arabic, Khalif Arabic. Meme did not escape Pharaoh by military strength or negotiation. The sea itself was transformed into a road. Maryam Arabic, Tain Arabic, Clam Arabic, Yet Arabic, Hi Arabic, Khalif Arabic, Khalif Arabic, Clam Arabic, Seen Arabic, Clam Arabic, Khalif Arabic. Meme did not receive provision through human assistance. Sustenance came to her in seclusion without explanation. These are not just historical stories, they are patterns meant to recalibrate how we interpret our own crises. Psychologically, we cling to familiarity because it gives us the illusion of control. When Allah removes familiar options, it feels like loss. But very often, what Allah is removing is not the solution, but the dependency. We confuse the means with the provider. We believe that if this person helps us, If this plan works, if this door opens, then we will be safe. Allah disrupts that certainty so that reliance returns to where it belongs. The moment you truly accept that help comes from Allah alone is the moment you become open to help arriving in unfamiliar forms. There is also a philosophical humility embedded in this process. Human intelligence excels at solving known problems, but it fails when the variables are hidden. Allah, however, operates with complete knowledge of causes and consequences. What you see as a dead end may be the precise turning point that redirects your life towards something better. Many believers can only recognize this in hindsight. At the time, the unexpected turn felt frightening, even painful. But later, they realized that had things gone according to their plan, they would have remained stuck in a lesser version of their life. This is why patience is not merely waiting, it is staying open. It is resisting the urge to define how relief must look. When you dictate the form of your rescue, you may unknowingly reject the very help Allah is sending. Trust requires surrender, not of effort, but of outcomes. You still act, you still strive, but you leave the architecture of success to Allah. So, if you are standing at what feels like the end of the road, remind yourself that Allah does not need roads to deliver relief. He creates paths where none existed before. Stay faithful, stay receptive, and stay moving forward with trust because the help you are waiting for may already be approaching from a direction you have not yet learned to see. When a person reaches the depth of difficulty, when explanations run out and support systems fall silent, there is one act that remains consistently available. DU letter 2BF A Macron letter 2B. Yet many people misunderstand what DU letter 2BF A Macron letter 2B truly is. They reduce it to a transaction, ask, wait, and if the answer does not arrive in the expected form, assume failure. Islam reframes this entirely. DU letter 2BF A Macron letter 2B is not merely a request for change, it is an act of connection. It is the moment a finite being directly turns to the infinite, admitting limitation without embarrassment and hope without apology. Psychologically, DU letter 2BF A Macron letter 2B does something profound. It interrupts the internal narrative of isolation. When you speak to Allah, even in whispered words or silent thoughts, you are no longer alone with your pain. You are placing it before the one who understands it better than you do. This alone reshapes the emotional burden. The problem may still exist externally, but internally it is now shared, and that sharing creates strength. The Prophet they taught us that Allah is shy to turn away empty hands raised to him. This does not mean every DU letter 2BF A Macron letter 2B results in immediate relief. Rather, it means that no DU letter 2BF A Macron letter 2B is ignored. Sometimes the response is exactly what was asked for. Sometimes it is protection from a harm we never saw coming. And sometimes it is stored for a moment when we will need it more than we realize. From a philosophical standpoint, this teaches us that our understanding of benefit is incomplete. We ask from a limited perspective. Allah responds from complete knowledge. There is also an important correction that DU letter 2BF A Macron letter 2B brings to the ego. Hardship exposes how deeply we rely on our own control. DU letter 2BF A Macron letter 2B dismantles that illusion. When you raise your hands, you are acknowledging that effort alone is not enough, intelligence alone is not enough, and strength alone is not enough. This humility is not weakness, it is clarity. It aligns the heart with reality, and paradoxically, that alignment often becomes the very means through which Allah opens doors. Many people hesitate to make DU letter to be FA Macron letter to be because they feel unworthy, inconsistent, or spiritually distant. But DU letter to be FA Macron letter to be was never reserved for the perfect. It was designed for the broken. Allah does not respond to eloquence, he responds to sincerity. A heart that turns to him in desperation is not rejected, it is welcomed. Even repeated DU letter to be FA Macron letter to be for the same issue is not a sign of impatience, it is a sign of persistence, and Allah loves persistence. Over time, something subtle happens. DU letter to be FA Macron letter to be begins to change not only the situation, but the person making it. The heart softens, anxiety loosens its grip. Trust quietly replaces panic. You may not realize it immediately, but strength is being built in places you never thought to look. So do not underestimate the power of turning to Allah. Even when words feel inadequate, speak anyway. Ask anyway, return again and again, because the hands that remain raised in DU letter to be FA Macron letter to be are never empty. They are being filled with resilience, clarity, and a connection that no hardship can take away. There comes a point in prolonged difficulty where a person begins to feel that the trial itself is designed to crush them. The pain feels excessive, the pressure relentless, and the heart wonders whether it was ever meant to endure this much weight. Islam confronts this fear directly by reframing the very purpose of trials. Hardship is not sent to destroy the believer, it is sent to refine them. What feels like breaking is often a process of reforming. Psychologically, comfort rarely produces depth. It maintains stability, but it does not create transformation. Trials, however, force a person to confront their assumptions about control, about security, and about what truly matters. In moments of ease, faith can become habitual. In moments of difficulty, faith becomes intentional. You are no longer practicing belief out of routine, but out of need. And it is precisely in that need that sincerity emerges. The Quran repeatedly reminds us that Allah does not burden a soul beyond what it can bear. This is not a slogan meant to dismiss pain. It is a declaration of divine confidence in the human spirit when anchored to Him. Your trial is not random, nor is it excessive. It is tailored. It is calibrated to your capacity, even when you yourself doubt that capacity. Allah sees strengths in you that you have not yet been forced to discover. There is also a profound philosophical shift that trials produce. They strip away false dependencies. When life is stable, the heart quietly leans on people, systems, and expectations without realizing it. A trial removes these supports one by one, not out of cruelty, but out of mercy. Allah is teaching the heart to stand upright without crutches. The pain of detachment is real, but so is the freedom that follows. A heart that depends on Allah alone cannot be held hostage by circumstances. Consider how many people only rediscovered their relationship with Allah through hardship, not because Allah was absent before, but because comfort had dulled awareness. Trials wake the soul, they clarify priorities, they expose what we worship in practice, not just in words. And when a person emerges from that awareness, even if the external problem remains, they are no longer the same person who entered it. This is why trials elevate rather than diminish. They deepen humility without destroying dignity. They teach patience without extinguishing hope. They replace superficial certainty with grounded trust. And most importantly, they draw the believer closer to Allah, not through fear, but through recognition. You begin to realize that Allah was never trying to take something from you. He was trying to give you something more lasting. So when hardship presses in, resist the urge to see it as an enemy. See it as a messenger. Let it push you closer, not further away. Because the trial that brings you back to Allah has already succeeded even before it ends. When a person is engulfed in difficulty, it is natural to fixate on timing. The heart asks, when will this end? How long must I endure? This impatience is human, but it often leads to frustration and despair. Islam teaches that relief is not just possible, it is guaranteed. The Quran tells us that after hardship comes ease, not occasionally, not sometimes, but as a certainty. This promise is not abstract, it is anchored in the infinite wisdom of Allah, whose understanding of cause and consequence surpasses human imagination. What feels interminable to us is measured in a reality that we cannot perceive. Psychologically, waiting is difficult because humans crave control and predictability. We want to see the outcome before investing our trust, yet faith requires us to step into uncertainty with confidence, trusting that the unseen is already under divine management. Imagine a person planting a seed. They water it, tend to it, and then leave it in the soil. They cannot see the root forming, nor can they predict the exact day it will sprout. Yet their trust in the process allows them to continue nurturing it. Similarly, our patience in hardship is the soil in which Allah's relief is prepared to emerge. The unseen work is being done even when we cannot perceive it. There is a philosophical depth to this as well. Human beings often assume that the resolution must arrive on our schedule and in our form. Allah challenges that assumption. He is not bound by our expectations or our timelines. Relief may come suddenly or gradually in ways that surprise us, through people we never imagined, or in solutions we had not considered. What is crucial is not the form, but the certainty ease will follow. Recognizing this shifts the focus from anxious anticipation to steadfast endurance. Patience is not passive resignation. It is active trust, combined with continued effort and awareness. Moreover, knowing that relief is guaranteed allows the heart to maintain hope even when circumstances appear bleak. This is essential because hopelessness corrodes action. A heart that has stopped hoping has also stopped striving, stopped praying, stopped looking for signs of guidance. But when we remember that Allah's promise of ease is absolute, our actions gain direction, our DU letter 2BF A Macron letter 2B gains sincerity, and our endurance gains purpose. Even the smallest steps in faith are magnified by this awareness, because they are taken in the context of divine timing and wisdom. Finally, the guarantee of relief teaches humility. We are reminded that we do not create outcomes, we participate in them. Allah orchestrates the final resolution, and our role is to remain faithful, patient, and diligent. When the moment of relief arrives, it will be both timely and transformative, perfectly calibrated for our highest good. So hold firmly to the truth that ease is inevitable after hardship. Your struggle is temporary, your patience is meaningful, and Allah's timing is perfect. Trust that the path will open, not in your time, but in Allah's always, and always in a way that is best for you. The heart that clings to this certainty does not merely survive, it thrives, ready to embrace the relief that has already been promised.